if you don't train at multiple gyms, you will definitely be stuck in the route of a rudimentary level as martial artist. I mean, you have to cross train, right? Literally, the best fighters in the world cross train. Like for example, GSP. I think it's pretty much a norm nowadays, right, to cross train, but unfortunately, there are still a bunch of cultists who think that it's absurd and that you shouldn't do it. I've actually heard of stories of like gyms that like I know of that like, oh, you're not allowed to cross train, which I think is absolute bullshit, right? Right? You have to cross train, and don't let any of these like boomer cult coaches tell you otherwise. It's like honestly, fuck this like cultist loyalty bullshit, especially when it's like the gym that you're training at doesn't even offer anything valuable to begin with. Also, it's like absurd to me. It's like why would you be a slave to someone you're paying? Right? Like how does that make any sense? Right? Like imagine that. Like you know how absurd this is. Like I'll give you an example of why this is absurd. Imagine if like phone companies tried to shame you for not being loyal. Right? Imagine if like AT&T shamed you because you didn't like their services and wanted to switch to like I don't know Verizon or T-Mobile or some other company because for whatever reason you just thought their service was shit and yeah, like it's time to switch. Right? Nobody would think that's absurd when it comes to something like, changing and not being loyal to a phone company or literally with any other business. But for some reason, when it comes to martial arts, now all of a sudden people want to be like these ultra cultists and like dick ride gyms and these shitty instructors. Especially like I noticed this, especially in jiu-jitsu, especially, right? And like these gi-based martial arts especially have this like weird thing that, oh, if you're not loyal to this like gym or instructor, then like you're like a shit person. But it's like maybe we should ask like why did that person leave? Is a better question, right? Right. I'll give you like actually a personal story, and this is not like with a major per se, right? This is actually with a fitness gym, right? It was a small local business, is what you would call like a small local business, right? And I remember there was like this staff member that was like an absolute dick, and it's like this puny motherfucker that I could like snap in half was like being rude to me, rude as fuck. Like, and it's like all these fuckers, like online, they talk about like support local, support small businesses. You know what I say? I say fuck all that. You mean support? I mean, a woman-owned business, support this black-owned business. No, fuck all that. Fuck all that. If your staff members are shit, or you're a shitty business to begin with, then it's like you deserve to go extinct. Like without a doubt, you deserve to go to extinct. And it's like, support. You should only be supporting good businesses, regardless of whether they're like big or small, right? And it doesn't matter who owns the business at the end of the day, right? It's like, is the service they're providing good? And are they actually like, what I mean? Are they good to the people that they serve? Right? AKA also you, right? Now maybe with like, I guess like organic stuff, I guess maybe like you could argue, right? That it's a little different, right? But even then, it's like, what I mean? Even if your product is like really good, but if you're like shit to people and like, I don't know, you're just like a dick to everyone and like you don't really provide like that good of a service, then honestly, even you deserve to go extinct. You know what I mean? Like, as much as I want to support, like, yeah, I want to support like organic stuff and whatnot, but I'm not gonna like, be a slave to it and like, what I mean, tolerate this like disrespect basically. Especially when you don't have to. I mean, they're the ones who need the money. That's why they're selling it in the first place, right? Right? So, you know what I mean? And it's like, when you support shit businesses and you support like shitty owners, you basically are the reason these people exist, right? Because instead of taking your business elsewhere, you're gonna like support these shitty businesses, right? At least with like martial arts and whatnot. But like, it's weird to me that you like how many people just tolerate being at like a shitty ass gym with like, even if the gym is like, like I said, even if the gym is providing you with a good like, martial arts, like your martial arts is getting better, even if that's the case. You know what I mean? It's also about like a little bit of like have some self respect. Don't be like, yeah, you know what I mean? Don't be like a slave. You know what I mean? Like also martial art progress, believe it or not, is not 100% based upon your instructor. In fact, I would argue that your progression at martial arts is literally based upon you. Because you can have people that go to the same gym, and like one guy just happens to excel really well, and like all these other people, they kind of like just get a little bit better. You know what I mean? Why do you think that is? Is it because it's more based upon like the effort that the individual puts and how he's obsessed with that certain thing. Like in this case, martial arts and MMA, right? So like, I don't know, it's just so absurd to me that people will tolerate shit and like try to justify it. You know what I mean? They'll try to justify, you know what I mean, being a slave to someone. It's like they'll tolerate, like disrespect to a motherfucker that they're paying. That's like the wildest thing, right? Like it's like to me that's just absurd. That you're gonna pay someone and then on top of that you're gonna tolerate the disrespect. And again, look, I'm not against like, discipline and all that. And like, your coach pushing you and whatnot. That's like fine. I'm not talking about that. But what I'm talking about is more like actual disrespect. Actual like being shit at like providing the service that's not even good. And then complaining that people are cross training. You know what I mean? I've noticed that the best gyms tend to be the ones that are actually very okay with cross training, right? And they don't have this like slave owner mindset of no, I own you and therefore you can't train anywhere else. I've noticed that gyms like that actually end up, sucking. You know what I mean? Absent. And like the funniest thing is they don't even follow the rule because if some massa from somewhere or some black belt massa from somewhere comes into their gym and wants to like hold you know what I mean, a private or whatever. What do they call those? What do they call those? A seminar, right? If like, what I mean, someone wants to hold a seminar, they'll literally willingly give their gym to let that guy train, make his money, and dip. So it's like, even these people, they don't follow. Like, if like GSP wanted to hold a seminar at their gym, or someone like some black belt massa, you know what I mean? From Brazil or some bullshit wanted to hold like a seminar, these people would be the first to be like, yeah, you could be hold like all that loyalty bullshit goes out the window. All that loyalty bullshit goes out the window, right? So even these people are like absolute hypocrites to begin with, right? And it's like, at the end of the day, it's like if we're being honest here, these gyms should incentivize. Like if they want loyalty so much, they should incentivize loyalty if they want it that badly. Like I'll give you an example, right? You know what I mean? Like the phone company that I have, I recently upgraded my phone right, to the iPhone 17, right? And one thing that they did, which I thought was kind of cool, is that they gave me a discount because of how loyal we had been to the service, right? Like for a good amount of years, like we pretty much stayed with them. Right? And it's not because of the phone company, it's because they actually provided a good enough service, you know what I mean? Right. And it's like, yeah, I mean, like if you want loyalty, maybe you should do some incentivizing. Really. Oh, yeah, like you've been a member for this long, so therefore we're gonna like reduce your membership. Right. It makes people want to stay longer, right? Like, or we're gonna give you like, what I mean, these gloves or something. Like we'll give you this gear. You know what I mean? Without charge. You guys can think of something, right? Like that. It can be something like that, right? We'll give them free shirts, or even something small like that. You know what I mean? Will make people want to stay, right? And it's like, and not just that. It's like you also need to like actually offer good service if you want people to stick around. You know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, there are a lot of instructors. Like, I remember the first MMA gym that I joined, right? MMA gym, right? and it wasn't really like an MMA gym, to be honest. It was more like a jiu-jitsu gym pretending to be an MMA gym, if I'm being honest here. Like the striking program was absolute shit. You know what I mean? And this actually will lead into a story that I think is gonna be really beneficial, right? But the striking program was absolute shit. You know what I mean? Right? Like I remember uh the one guy like you know what I mean? He was basically just brain dead during whenever he would try to teach, more. Like in the beginning when I first joined, it was actually not too bad. Like he had some heart and passion to it. But I guess like when you overdo something, I guess like, you kind of like burn out. But it's like, maybe he should have just taken a week off or something and then like came back. Like, oh, right. But the point is, it's like, yeah, like it was weird because it started being brain dead and it's like, the energy was just dead and he didn't seem like he was really into actually teaching, right? And like at one point, I remember there's this one guy, like that was absolute shit. But like for some weird reason, they had him teach the class, right? Like it's funny, I remember like, it was a ginger guy, right? Funny enough, me and my friend at the time, you know what we'd call him? Or we'd call him Lal Bag, which basically means red retard or redheaded retard. Because like, bro, this dude was like fucking like not all there in the head. Like honestly, he's borderline probably on the spectrum, but like he got away with it in the sense that like he wasn't actually on the spectrum. Like he wasn't actually like disabled, right? But he was actually like retarded. That's for sure, though. And they had him teaching the class at one point. For some reason, I guess like the guy couldn't make it or whatever. The actual like instructor couldn't make it, and it's like at that point, me and my friend are like, you know what? We probably need to go somewhere else, at least for you know what I mean, our striking. You know what I mean? Yeah, at least, and and like there's a lot of like toxic things within that gym as well. Like for example, like I remember, like we were in this Facebook group, and it was like weird because like the instructor would just post like random shit where it was like he was just like raging, like it was like weird. Oh, like fuck this, fuck that. I'm like, in my head, I'm just thinking like, what? Like, I'm like calling out people within the gym and whatnot. I was like, I don't know. There's something off about that. You know what I mean? Like, why don't you just go to the person and tell them? You know what I mean? Instead of making this whole scene and right. And then it's like also it was weird too. It's like if you didn't go to the grappling, like the jiu-jitsu class, and you went to the striking class instead, like, you would be shamed by like everyone there. It was like a weird like again, like I said, this was a jiu-jitsu gym cosplaying, pretending to be an MMA gym, right? And I won't mention names of anyone or any other, except for like Lollipop. It's not even his real name, right? Right. Right. It was just a nickname that we gave him. A deserving nickname, that's for sure. Right. But this actually kind of led me to my journey of like actually cross training. And when I realized like what kind of like low key, just for some backstory, like kind of like inspired me is because a lot of like honestly, a lot of MMA fighters have like shitty ass boxing. Like they have like no striking whatsoever. They have like all like non-existent boxing. You know, you know. And I was like, you know what? I should go to a boxing gym, right? Like, and also I feel like it'd be a lot easier to pick up on because again, it's a lot more simple. It's not complicated, and it's like your hands are pretty much like the first thing that you would use in a fight, like the most immediate thing you would use. So I was like, okay, I'll do this. I'll go to a boxing gym. Like, and I went to that boxing gym for like a good like 2 years. You know what I mean? But at the same time, around like I guess like a couple months into that boxing gym, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna also go to the old taekwondo gym that I used to go to. Right? Yeah. So the old taekwondo gym that I used to go to. Right. So I was actually paying for because the taekwondo gym was actually cheap enough to where I could actually at the time like pay for it. Even though you know what I mean. This is like back in like 2019, by the way, and I was training at this taekwondo gym at the same time as I was training at this boxing area, and like that combo right there, It's a deadly combo, but combining boxing with taekwondo makes you into a really good like. Now you just need to like besides the Muay Thai, you just need to add a little bit of sprinkles of Muay Thai in there, and then it's perfect, pretty much, right? But I was basically just doing boxing and taekwondo, and then occasionally my friend at the time, he was doing like he was going to just a Muay Thai gym, and yeah, I mean yeah, he was going to just a Muay Thai gym. So I thought, okay, you know what? We'll like cross train a reference with each other. So I'll teach him taekwondo and boxing, and he'll teach me some Muay Thai, which should be good for all of us, And that way, like honestly, I got so amazing at striking because of that. Right? Had I just stayed and tolerated that shitty jiu-jitsu gym pretending to be an MMA gym, I would not be as good as I am. You know what I mean? I would not have gotten better at striking. You know what I mean? And since a lot of MMA gyms are just really jiu-jitsu gym pretending to be MMA gyms, it's like and their striking programs are usually just absolute dog shit. Most MMA gyms, if we're being honest here, right? So it's like like cross training really does help, and it's like really beneficial. And like a lot of people think that you need to go to like an MMA gym per se, but honestly, it's like in some areas, like I understand, like especially there aren't any really good MMA gyms, but they might have like they may have a really good like karate place or taekwondo place or a boxing gym, and you're better off or a judo gym or whatever, right? Right? You're better off going to those places, those singular martial arts, and cross training like that. Especially, I would personally stick to like the same field. So if like let's like how I did, right, boxing and taekwondo, right? They're both striking martial arts. And then like towards the end, like this is like right before I was about to move to California, right? And like towards the end, I actually did end up training at 10th Planet for a little bit as well. You know what I mean? Like right before, you know? Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I honestly like all that cross training made me so amazing. Like everything. You know what I mean? Literally, you know what I mean? Honestly, the 10 Planet Gym was also pretty good, but unfortunately, like I had to move to California, so I couldn't stick around for it. But yeah, boxing, taekwondo, 10th Planet, right? Like, I mean, who does that, right? Like, who does all that cross training, right? Not a whole lot of people, right? And it's like, I low key haven't. Like, this is kind of funny because I haven't low key cross trained too often nowadays. And that's mainly because like I kind of like the gym that I'm currently at. You know what I mean? And not in like a weird cultish way that a lot of these people are like. But it's more so like what I mean? Like since I like the gym and the service is pretty good. It's like you know what I mean? It's like why wouldn't I stick around? And also it's like I found that the gym and the instructors are like very how do I say this? Like open minded. Not in some gay lube way, but like open minded. As in like as in like you know what I mean? They don't try to like dumb down or play down like something. You know what I mean? Like how like a lot of gyms are like, oh, that wouldn't work, that taekwondo stuff wouldn't work, or that karate stuff, or don't really dip to the side like that because oh you're gonna eat a head kick or whatever, right? I don't really find that at the gym. Now again, they do give like oh like you know it is something to be cautionary of if you're going to do this. You know what I mean? But they also recognize that each fighter is kind of like their own individual at the same time, and that this one fighter may like to do something more than another fighter, right? And it's like, you can never escape the risk of this and that. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, with all that being said, though, it's like, whenever you do cross train, it's like, this is what I'll say. I think ideally, it would be best if you could have at least one home based gym, right? Like just one home based gym that you mainly train at, right? The only exception to this would be is like if you live in an area that doesn't really have like a good enough gym to where you could call it a home based gym, but and or like all the gyms in your area just happen to be shit. And in this case, it's like okay, like like the advice I gave earlier is that you could just train at a bunch of singular martial arts. Uh, you could either just stick to one at the time and then switch over later, or you can do it at the same time, kind of. Like this depends on again how good you are at the stage that I'm at. I could do this, or if I wanted to, right? But if you're like really new to martial arts, I would probably just recommend just sticking with one singular martial art, and like as you pick up and you get better, then you could like train at another one and another one, right? Also, I think this is where like having good people skills is also really good. If you have like friends that are martial artists, and like this one guy trains at another gym, and this other guy trains at another gym, then it's like you can trade techniques. You know what I mean? And like let's say a guy who used to wrestle, he can teach you how to wrestle, right? And yeah, and this other guy, he goes to a boxing gym, right? He teaches you how to box, right? This other guy, when he does Muay Thai or whatever, he can teach you some Muay Thai, right? And then you can also trade what, like, let's say you do like grappling, like submission grappling, right? And you can teach them that, right? For example, right? And it's like this hub of that amongst your friends. This is also another like this I've done as well, right? This also works really well, right? So you can do that as well. Also, I think should be a given that but if like let's say you don't have to, what I mean, you can actually in your area you live, there are a good amount of gyms, right? And you can actually cross train at, right? But so this should kind of be a given, but it's like don't try and be a dick to people. Don't try and like when you go and you cross train, don't try and like create hostilities, right? Otherwise, this just kind of ruins your possibility to cross train, right? Like be respectful, of course. I think that should be a given. Obviously, you know, I think I should create another video on this, on the etiquettes of cross training and how to do it actually properly because I think so many people are so dumb. They mindlessly go into a gym and then some drama happens and it's like, okay, and then they get kicked out and now they can't cross train, right? And I think also like, so I'm definitely gonna create that video for sure. Right? It'll probably be maybe my next video or so, right? And it's like, I think open mats tend to be a really good, great place to cross train, especially for free, since most gyms have open mats for free. But even like the multiple gym membership approach that I told you guys about is honestly a really great benefit if you can afford it, right? If you can afford it in some way, right? I know like most of you probably watching this are pretty young, so right, maybe your parents pay for the membership or something, right? And what I would probably recommend is maybe like having your parents pay for one membership and then you pay for another. Like maybe you're working or something, right? That's actually a really great way. I know a friend that like kind of did this, right? I know a couple of people that actually do this, right? Like if they have like their parents or someone paying for one membership and they like are working and pay for another membership. I think that's actually a really great like way to get really better. Right? Like maybe their parents are paying for like the boxing membership and they're paying for like the taekwondo membership, right? Right? Or whatever, right? In whatever way you want to do it, right? But if you do want like really good advice on how to cross train, I think definitely I think joining my program where I really talk about this more in depth, right? Because I don't think anyone really touches upon this in a great detail. Like honestly, right? You can join my program, Biohacking for MMA, in the description below, right? Or I do have the link as well on my channel, right? Right, right. So that way, you guys can also like you can also join the Patreon, ask me questions about cross training or whatever you want, right? Just health stuff in general or MMA stuff in general, right? But like I said, you know what I mean? I think I'll it's like like I said, man, like if you are gonna try cross train, you should be, pretty respectful wherever you go. I think like even me, bro, like I don't try and like debate people. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of, like the gym isn't really the place to really debate people. And of course, it's like, you know what I mean? Like even when like, you know, as much as you guys know, I hate jiu-jitsu and all that stuff. You know what I mean? I don't really try and like, if some of the things jiu-jitsu is beneficial, I don't try and like, oh no, actually, bro, like jiu-jitsu is actually retarded. You shouldn't do. Like, because first of all, some people are so stuck in, where they're at that it's like, you disagreeing with them will actually make them hate you, even if it's like a respectful conversation. Just like you, so it's like I would rather let go of their arguments so that I could personally just, cross train in peace. You know, so it's like and I think honestly, cross training made me so much better. Like it honestly did. And it's like, I low-key need to go back to it. Like I really need to go back to cross training and, you know, just being better. I mean, right now I'm in a little bit of a different journey right now with me currently. Right, right. But yeah, eventually I definitely need to get back to cross training and like, maximizing on that. Right. But eventually, I'll definitely make that video. Right. I think etiquette's cross training definitely like, especially since a lot of you are like dumb as fuck and don't know how to do it properly. I think it's definitely a great thing that you should do. Right. Cross training is amazing, and don't let like any boomer cultist coach or some shaming culture within like the jiu-jitsu space like try to tell you otherwise. Like cross train, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Like right, it's your money at the end of the day. Right, you can do what you want with it. Right, right. Nobody really owes you anything. Like you know what I mean. Of course, be respectful. Right, right. But at the same time, it's like you are not anyone's slave. Right? You're not a slave to someone's loyalty. Like rather, if anything, if anyone is a slave here, it's them because you are paying them. Right? How has it been that you pay someone and then you're their slave? How the fuck does that work? Right? Like that's such a you know what I mean? Such a such a weird mindset, honestly. But yeah, I mean, you should be cross training, and if you want to know how to cross train better, definitely you can join my program, biohacking for MMA. You know, in the link below. Right? And if you haven't already, man, let me know your thoughts below. How is cross training going for you? Um, wait, do you disagree? I'm curious, right? I don't think a whole lot of people disagree. Maybe there's a nuance or something, right? That I'm like more than willing to hear. You know what I mean? What do you guys think about cross training? Has it helped you? Has it not? Right? Let me know in the comments below. Right? Subscribe to this channel. Right? Hit that bell notification. Like this video. And until greatness returns, I shall leave you in the echoes of excellence.